Arkadaşlar selamlar. Öncelikle hoş geldiniz seminerimize. İlk etapta ben şöyle çok kısa bir Türkçe giriş yapmak istiyorum. Durumu bir açıklamak istiyorum. Bugün yurt dışında lise eğitimi üzerine konuşacağız. Bunun önemi üzerine konuşacağız. Size konuklarımı tanıtmak istiyorum şu anda. Hi guys, we have Joel from IQ Skills Group. Well, we have Megan from H International School, and we have Laurie from Norfolk Christian Schools. Welcome. So, how are you today?
Brilliant, thank you. How are you?
You're fine, thank you.
Great.
Laurie, how are you feeling today?
Good, good. We had an early start with the VEF fair this morning, so for us it was 4 in the morning when we started, but we're doing really well.
So you must be pretty excited for the seminar. Well, Megan, how are you feeling today?
Good, thank you very much. This is the first time I'm participating in the VEF fair, so I'm very excited to take part and take part in the seminar.
Thank you. Well, actually today we are going to talk about like the high school experience abroad. We are going to talk about the advantages of studying high school abroad, the importance of studying high school abroad, the tuition fees, the destination that the students prefer, the satisfaction rates, and of course, how COVID affects to the students' lives. So Joel, I'd like to start with you. So what is the advantage of studying high school abroad?
Well, there are numerous advantages. I've actually, in preparing for this seminar, wrote down 7 main ones, which is probably too many for the seminar this morning. So
I have written 15 important topics, so 7 is fine.
Amazing, but I tried to keep it down to a minimum, but let's go through some of them. So I would say, honestly, the main reason, and I'm sure this is the case for every student looking to study abroad, is the opportunity to study in a new language. So students that come to the UK in particular, they're looking to study English alongside native speakers. They're looking to improve their language skills. Of course, at high school, it's a great time for students to join and learn a new language. The younger that you begin to learn a language, the easier it is to pick up. So, of course, we always recommend when students join our schools, the younger, the better. If they start in year 7, aged 11, then that's absolutely perfect. By the time they get to, GCSE level or A level, when they're doing their state exams, they have a perfect level of English. They also have the native nuances of the language as well, which, of course, is a distinct advantage over students that may join us directly into an academic program. So yeah, the main sort of point for me is for students coming to learn and study in a new language. Another one that I found that was very important, and it depends on each country, but especially we find in the UK, that we're able to offer such a wide variety of programs. So students that come to join a high school, maybe compared to their home country, they may have way more choices. So just for an example, at Middleton College, we have adventure education. So this is so for the high school students, every 2 weeks, they have a day where they go out into the wilderness. They do mountain climbing, rock climbing, they go canoeing, they do orienteering, they go down into the mines, which we have some old mines in Wales that the students can go down and explore. So these kind of activities and adventure programs may be not offered in different countries. So, schools in the UK, and I'm sure in the US and Canada as well, they offer programs and they want to be able to diversify their curriculum. So students get not just a great education, but an interesting one, something that they can, go home and tell their parents and their friends and family, oh, we got to do this at school today. It was so interesting. So yeah,
exactly. Like the academic qualification is extremely important, but also the extracurricular activities are important. They are playing a huge role in the development of a child. Well, actually, Megan, so what are the extracurricular activities in your school? I really wonder, what are the students are doing in Italy?
Mm-hmm. So we're actually really excited for this school year because in September we opened a brand new campus. Mm-hmm. So we're offering boarding services for the first time, which is really important for us because we really want to grow our international student community. Because we offer the international baccalaureate programs, we're able to give a globally recognized educational program in a place that perhaps some high school students might not immediately come to mind to study in Italy. But because of where we are geographically located, we are located right outside of Venice. We're close to the seaside, we're close to the mountains, we're 10 minutes away from an international airport. So it's a really unique, let's say, destination for students interested in doing a high school program somewhere around the world. And obviously, as everyone knows, Italy has an extremely high quality of life. We have wonderful food, we have wonderful art. So actually, when students have downtime, in the afternoons and on the weekends, they really take advantage of the best of what Italy has to offer. So they go to Venice to see art museums, they go to the opera, they go to the mountains to go skiing. So we really do quite a number of interesting activities off campus. But on our new campus, we also have world-class sports facilities. So students can do horseback riding, tennis, golf, volleyball. We have a campus radio station. We have a campus newspaper. So there's a lot of things going on for them on our campus.
Exactly, I definitely agree with you about this. But actually, it is a little bit hard to find this extracurricular activities, unfortunately, in Turkish high schools. But when they go to abroad for studying, like they're going to have many extracurricular activities, and they can choose whatever that they are interested in.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, like I definitely want to talk a bit more about this. So Lori, so what do you offer to the students?
Absolutely. So we are not a boarding program with our school. We actually are homestay. So some of what we offer our students is really that family experience that they get when they're living with a family that's connected with our school.
Mm-hmm.
So they not only have the extracurriculars associated with the school, but they get the experience of spending a year or sometimes up to 4 years with a family and learning what typical American families do on the weekends and on breaks.
So they get to have that American family experience as well.
Absolutely. They barbecue and, go to movies as a family or go out to eat.
So they never feel alone, actually. They always have a family around.
Absolutely. As far as at the school, we have, outside of our academics, they have robotics clubs and STEM programs that they can participate in. We have championship athletic teams, and we've got many of our athletic teams have won state championships. So we have football, American football.
When you say football, of course, I'm not going to understand American football.
We have both. We have soccer and American football. We have swimming teams. We have track teams, cheerleading, basketball. I mean, we have just high quality athletic teams. And the great thing is our students can try those out. Maybe something they've never played before, but they're interested. And so they're encouraged to try those things. We also have a lot of fine arts activities that students can get involved in. We do a large musical every year. So if students want to try acting or singing, that's something they can be part of. We have a dance team that they can join. We actually have a competition chorus that has 2 years ago, they went to, they were in Europe. And then this next year coming up, we're going to be singing in Rome and Italy. We've been invited to sing at Vatican. So it's really amazing opportunities that our kids have, and our teachers and our extracurricular sponsors cultivate their interests. We've had international students come who didn't really know they liked art.
But when they experience, they just feel like they need to do this.
Right. And so now actually one of our students is now studying at Pratt Institute of Art and Design.
That is actually quite impressive. Wow. So thank you, Laurie. So actually, Joel, I know that the UK has like many amazing like world standard universities. And so what do you offer to your students? Like, is it easier for the students who studies in the UK high school to get an offer from Oxford, Cambridge, so those kind of universities?
So personally, I would say yes, it definitely makes the application a lot smoother. So if students come to join either of our schools to study an A-level program, the A-levels are the most widely recognized qualification for a lot of UK universities. That's not to say that they don't recognize other qualifications, but A-levels are the main qualification that they will look at. So for students that do come to join us at Middleton College or Radcliffe School, they will go on to an A-level program. So students initially will pick 4 subjects. These are all optional subjects, so there's no core subjects. They don't have to study a specific subject. It is based on what they are interested in. And then in the second year of their A-level program, they will drop one of those subjects. They will study the 3 in more depth, and then they will go on to apply for university. So yes, I would say that, you know, to go on to a UK university, students with their A-levels will certainly, depending on their results, of course, they will definitely, it will help them in applying to UK universities. And the schools, both the schools offer UCAS support. So this is support with the university applications. At both schools, there are alumnus of Oxford and Cambridge that can assist students that are going to go on to study or want to study at Oxford or Cambridge. But all students in the sixth form who are studying A-levels will receive support in which university they want to go to, which course they would like to study as well. So one of the most important things is, you know, some international students will think, okay, I'm going to the UK, I need to study in London. But our UCAS support team at both schools will talk through the students. They'll go through a more rational approach. What subjects would you like to study? And then they can choose a university that offers the best program rather than the largest city that maybe the student has heard of.
Exactly.
So yeah.
And actually, students is already like living in Birmingham for 2 years, so they will be able to visit those cities, and they can choose whichever that they like most.
Absolutely.
I think that you have a personal tutor system, right? So a tutor is always talking to the student, and then they are choosing the universities, which is going to be more convenient for the student, which course is going to be more convenient. I think you're supporting for the students about choosing the subject that they are going to study and choosing the university that they are going to study, right?
Yes, so there's a tutor system throughout the entirety of their stay at the school from year 7 up until the last year before they go to university. But the tutors will, of course, help the students in choosing their academic subjects when they go to university. A lot of students will arrive at the school already knowing what they would like to study. So in that case, our support team will simply, you know, work on which university is the best choice for them, because some students would like to know the closest transport links, or, you know, maybe their friends are going to a similar university that has the same course. So the support team in that case will assist with which university is the best. For students that have joined us who are just part of the international experience, you know, they've studied in the UK, they've done all the excursions, they've enjoyed it all, but are still not quite sure which subject they'd like to go on to study at university. That's where our support team can assist with that and, you know, start to give ideas and say, well, you know, you're studying these A-levels at the moment. With these A-levels, it would be great to go on to this course. So the support team are very, very helpful when it comes to giving students inspiration for those that aren't quite sure. And for those that are sure and are already wanted to be a doctor when they were, you know, a small child, they just give them a helping hand to the right university.
Okay, well, yeah, thank you, Joel. Megan, actually, I really wonder, like, is it easier to get an offer from like the amazing universities in Italy when you are graduated high school in Italy? So, like, what is the difference of studying in Turkey and applying for the Italian universities, or studying in Italy and then applying to the Italian universities? So, what are the benefits of studying there?
Right. So now, like I mentioned before, this is the really kind of the first year that we're able to welcome international students because we now have the boarding facility. But traditionally, most of our students do tend to, I would actually say it's about split half and half. Half of our students choose to stay in Italy, even though they've done, let's say, an educational program that allows them to go anywhere else in the world. For various reasons, they decide to stay in Italy to continue with their university.
Since you're offering IB, your graduates can study wherever they want.
Yeah, they can study basically in any country around the world. Some just prefer to stay closer to home, and the availability of English language university programs in Italy is growing year by year. So some decide to go on to English-speaking programs, but staying in Italy, or some choose to go on to kind of more traditional university studies, and then about half go to universities abroad. Most stay within Europe. And obviously a big destination has always been the UK, but I feel like this year might look like it's going to be a big change because of Brexit. And we have a lot more students interested in kind of exploring maybe lesser known options. So business schools, especially in, for example, in Spain or the Netherlands or France. Those that decide to stay in Italy, like I mentioned before, it really goes back into the, quality of life and just kind of getting the most out of living in Italy, being exposed to the art, being exposed to the architecture, being exposed to the history. So getting a really wonderful kind of life experience while you're studying at the same time. And we have here in Italy some of the oldest and most prestigious universities in the world. The first university was actually the University of Bologna, that was founded in the year 1088. And right by here in Venice, we have Ca' Foscari University, which was the first business school in the world. So we have a really kind of rich and historic tradition in higher education right here in Italy.
Okay, well, thanks a lot, Megan. So, well, Laurie, we always hear about like the Ivy League universities. So that's why actually I want to ask this question to you as well. So, what is the decision for your graduates? So what they prefer to do when they're graduating from your school? Where they prefer to go and study, which universities?
Absolutely. So we could start off by saying that with our students at Norfolk Christian, we have, even though we are a smaller private school, we have a lot of students, graduates that go on to top universities and colleges. The U.S. News and World Report, puts out their list of top universities in the United States, and of the top 50 listed in the U.S. News and World Report, we have students who at 26 of those top 50 universities. And so, yes, a lot of our international students do choose to stay here for their extended studies, for their university studies. And we have had students at Cornell. We do have students at Ivy League universities and Harvard. But we also encourage our students to look at other universities that don't necessarily fall in that Ivy League category. We have a lot of state schools, University of North Carolina, Virginia Tech, UVA. We have the schools in California that are all also really great colleges, and you can get an excellent education. And a lot of our students end up at those as well. I think for students, international students, the benefit of studying at a school in the U.S., if that's where they're if they have a desire to study at university, is that a lot of times the universities will waive the language testing.
Actually, this is really important, because for the Turkish students, I always have this issue, because when they study high school here, they actually having trouble with passing the IELTS and the PTE test, because they're always studying in Turkish, they're always talking Turkish within the family, within the friends. So that's why actually this is really a bit troubling for the Turkish students. But when they study in United States, so they are graduating with higher level of English, and at the same time, the university waives the English requirement right away.
Right.
So that's quite important.
Because they've been studying at a school, and they've been studying and writing and doing all their work in English. They know, and based on their transcripts, the colleges and universities know that their English skills are high enough that they will be okay. So I think that for international students, that's a big benefit. It's also a cost-saving benefit because they don't have to pay for those tests then.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, like I wanted to talk about costs a little bit. So since until now we have just talked about like the benefits of studying abroad and how amazing studying abroad, but also like what is the tuition fee and what is the costs of studying high school abroad? So what are the tuition fees in your high school?
For ours, we have, we call it's an all-inclusive tuition. So what that means for our students is they pay one fee, and that covers their school tuition, that covers their homestay fees. So the family that takes care of them, they don't have to pay any additional fees for that. It covers their medical insurance. The U.S., the United States government requires that F1 students have medical insurance. It covers any school-related activities. So
the parents doesn't have to think of anything else. So they're just paying, and then like everything is covered.
Right. And I mean, the kids, I always tell the kids, you need your own spending money.
Like, of course.
I'm not paying for you to go to the mall. But I do, if they want to go to the school dance, they want to go to prom or homecoming, those tickets, that's all included in what we cover for them. They don't have to pay extra for those.
I'm sorry, what? So they don't have to pay whenever I want to visit my family?
No. Prom. It's a dance, big dance that we have in the United States.
So I just thought like the flight, I just understand like they don't have to pay for the prom, but they have to pay for the dress.
Correct. They can buy their own. So we do all that, and for our school, tuition is around $35,000 a year. Now I know that
it's all included. So when you include like the accommodation and like the food and the tuition fees, uniforms, and everything, actually it is not so much.
And transportation, they don't, their host families will take them where they need to go.
Oh, so okay, that's actually perfect.
Yeah.
Great. So Joel, so what is like how much is studying in your high schools? All included.
All included. Unfortunately, we don't have an all-included program similar to Norfolk Christian, I'm afraid. So our fee covers the boarding and tuition fees. This includes the 3 meals a day and any sort of resources that come with academic study. There are some additional costs that are outside of this. So these additional costs will be weekend activities, uniform, transfers if they're required. So some students don't require transfers from the airport, but we can provide those as well. So the price that we offer for boarding tuition, 3 meals a day, is £36,600 per year. But we are very ready to offer scholarship opportunities, which of course is always nice to hear.
Yeah, attention. Scholarship opportunities.
Yes, so we are able to offer scholarship opportunities of up to 50% off the boarding and tuition fees.
50%, depending on the background of your student, of course.
So it will depend on the academic background of the student. They can also apply for different types of scholarships. So we have academic scholarships, we have musical scholarships, we have sports scholarships. We also at Middleton College have a resilience award. So there's a specific award for students that have been resilient in the last year. They write a short essay on their experience and how they've overcome it. And this is a separate award we can offer. There is a similar award at Adcut School as well. So there are a wide variety of different scholarships available. But with all of them, we're able to offer up to 50% off boarding and tuition fees.
Okay, actually, that's quite impressive. Thank you. Well, Megan, so what is the tuition fee of your school?
So I'm a bit relieved to find out we're pretty much in the same, let's say, ballpark as the 2 other guests. So the total between the boarding costs and all of the tuition costs is around 35,000 euros. So kind of in line with the other schools. And that would be included, so tuition, all sorts of, let's say, educational resources that the students have. All of the students are given a MacBook, a personal computer that they use throughout their program to do research and various projects. That includes everything in the boarding service, so 3 meals a day, the assistance of the boarding staff, various extracurricular activities and athletic activities that they'd like to take part in, the uniform, and all sorts of assistance that we give specifically to international students to kind of assist them throughout the process of getting their study visa, and once they're here in Italy, their residency permits, their medical insurance, and everything like that. So yeah, I would say 35,000 kind of covers basically everything that they would need for the school year, and then the families would just need to arrange for the transportation to our campus here in Venice.
Okay, perfect. Actually, the same for like all 3 schools. Like the parents are just going to pay for like the whole tuition fee, and then they don't have to think of anything else. Actually,
Exactly.
they
Have some pocket money, like Lori was saying before. Just some extra cash to go out on the weekends or clothes and things like that. Obviously.
Yeah, sure, exactly. Well, actually, I really wonder about like the admission requirements as well, because like we thought that the students will be graduated with a high level of English, but like, what are you looking for in a student when you issue an offer letter to the student, when you accept the students to your school? So what are your requirements? Like Megan, what is your school's requirement?
So for admission to our high school program, we have a admission exam. It's 2 parts. One is mathematics and one is English. For entrance into the high school program, the English level that we're looking for is around a B2 on the Cambridge scale. And for students that are applying directly for the diploma program, so the last 2 years of the high school program, we're looking to see kind of more of a C1. So a quite, advanced, let's say, level of English. We also have obviously just kind of a general admission form where we ask for the students' school reports, their last 2 report cards, just kind of see, their student profile and what subjects that they've been doing in the last 2 years. And we also arrange for them to take part in a virtual meeting with the head of the school and the head of the program to kind of get to know them personally and to kind of understand their motivation and their interest in studying abroad and studying specifically at our school.
Okay, but so we need to provide the transcript of the student to you, and also we need to provide an internationally recognized English test. So do you offer your own English tests? Like
Exactly. They have the option. If they already have our Cambridge certification or a IELTS certification, we're more than glad to accept that. Or we can have them take our own English admission exam.
Okay, perfect. But by the way, do you support your students? Like, let's say a student is just 0.5 below than your English requirements. So do you do you have like English language support in your school, or are you just saying the student just retake the IELTS test?
They can either retake our test, or we can match them with a tutor and have them repeat the test later on. We're really looking to seeing that the student is motivated and willing to improve their level. So even if they fall kind of just slightly below, let's say, that threshold, we take into consideration various other elements. So if they're not quite there yet, we try to get them to where they need to be, at least by September when they start school with us.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Well, Lori, so what do you look for in a student, like when you accept to your school?
Absolutely. We're very similar to the international school in Italy. And so we have an admissions application that we ask them to fill out that has student insights. We want to know more about them, what they feel their strengths and weaknesses are. We also ask for a math and an English recommendation from their current teachers. So a teacher has been teaching them English, teaching them math. And as well, we're looking for report cards for at least 2 years. Now, if they're an 11th, applying for 11th grade or 12th grade, I need their whole high school career for grade report cards.
So what is the English level that you require, like B2 or lower?
We are a little more, we're flexible. I will say this.
So you must have an English language support during the year, I guess.
Yes. So I do want them to have an English test score before they come in. I need them to be at least on a good conversational level with English. So we don't necessarily have kind of a hard and fast rule on our numbers. I will say that, because sometimes we recognize that they don't always test well. Like sometimes the students feel pressure and they don't test as well as they can actually do. So part of our process for admissions is a video interview.
Oh, okay.
So even if I'm looking at a student and maybe their English test scores aren't very high, in that interview, I will ask them some detailed questions, like not just how are you, what's your name. So that also will give me, I've been doing this for, oh gosh, I've been doing our international student program for 7 years. So I've gotten pretty good at
You must have like many students till now.
Yeah, so I can get a lot from that interview with them. And then we also have English support once they're here. We're not a language school. I do make that clear. So we're not equipped for those who are not able to do school in English. But we do have English language support, and we have tutoring that's included in their tuition. It's all part of everything. That 2 hours, after school during the week. We have our teachers are well trained on how to help our international students. So, for example, with tests, if they're struggling with a written answer to a test, the teacher may ask them later, okay, here's the question you seem to have trouble writing out your answer. Tell me what you're thinking on this. And then we go back and work on that with our English language teacher.
Okay, actually perfect. So the student learns English and also the student is studying the high school. Actually, it is kind of amazing. So it's like language school plus high school. So Jules, what are you looking in a student when you accept the students to your school, like the academic requirement, English requirement?
Sure. So one of the great things about our schools is that they are non-selective. So we don't require a minimum level of English as the other guests. Of course, it is important that they do have an understanding of English because, every single lesson will be, taught in English. So it is important.
Communicate.
Exactly. So it's important that they have an existing level of English. But we won't, discriminate on a lower level of English compared with someone with a very high level. So in terms of the application process, we have an application form, which is all the basic details, the subjects they would like to study. We also require their academic transcript for the last 2 years. And then it is a copy of their passport as well. Once we've received these documents, we then have an interview. That's usually with myself. And again, a similar interview. It's not just a hi, how are you? How's your day been? It's quite in-depth questions, just so I can sort of push the students to find out their actual academic level in terms of their English. And this is sort of our benchmark for how we know how much English support to give them once they arrive at the school. So we have the interview in English. Following this, they will sit an entrance test. This is made up of 3 parts: English, maths, and science. As non-selective schools, the mark and the results of these tests aren't, it isn't determining whether they get a place at our school or not. It is just for us to get an idea of their academic level compared with their academic transcript, just to make sure they kind of match up. Once they do join the school, all of our international students will receive English as an additional language support. So for the younger students, they will receive more, so I believe 4 or 5 hours in a week. From GCSE upwards, it's 3 hours a week. So this is part of their curriculum. We have specified English as second language teachers at both schools that offer the English support. So, similar to Norfolk Christian, they have English teachers that are able to work with international students and they can go over what they've been through in the lessons. One good thing that they do as well is so for certain subjects, especially in English, there may be specific vocabulary that is very technical that they may not have come across when studying English before. Our English support teachers can go through that vocabulary alongside what they're studying to make sure that they're understanding the terminology and making sure that, when it gets to exam time and they have these questions with this, very technical vocabulary that they're ready to and fully understand what they're about to answer. So as our schools, we like to welcome anyone and everyone. Basically, all we do is with our tests and with our entrance requirements, we want to make sure we know how much support we need to provide them once they arrive at school.
Actually, our students are going to love that.
Brilliant.
Well, actually, every school has something popular, this particular specific for that school. So let's say some of the schools are well known with their STEM courses, some of the schools are well known with their music courses. So what is the popular course in your high school, Joel?
I'll start with Middleton College. I did mention it previously, the Adventure Education Program. So as mentioned previously, students up to the age of 16, every 2 weeks they go out into the wilderness and they complete some kind of outdoor activity. There is a huge range of different outdoor activities that they do. It's a chance for them to go outside, away from the classroom, which students, of course, love it, to day out away from school, which is always great. The activities, of course, some of them are, there's an element of risk to them, but that's the whole point of offering this education, because it allows students to think outside the box, and they're not just sitting, listening, learning, writing. They are actively thinking about what they have to do. The students really enjoy this as well, working as a team. They're with their classmates, they're with their friends, and they complete an activity that they were never going to do as part of their school curriculum. So the Adventure Education Program is incredibly popular at Middleton College. At Adcott School, as being very academically strong, we are also very kind of accepting of the arts and sports as well. So we have a very strong gymnastics team and an equestrian team as well. As well as that, we offer a lot of performance-based subjects. So at the school, we actually offer Lambda diplomas. So Lambda is a performing arts diploma that is offered, and all of the girls that have taken the Lambda diploma at our school have got a distinction, the highest grade within it. So there's quite an emphasis on the arts, on performance. We have each term, we have a performance at the end of the term. There's also music performances and orchestras and choirs. So, I'd say both schools, they kind of they value everything in terms of sports, arts, academic prowess as well. But I would say those are the kind of most important things at those schools.
Well, thank you, John. Well, Megan, actually, I'm guessing art, but what is the most popular course or the program in your school?
Actually, we're actually a very innovative, more towards the tech and digital side of things, because our school was actually created within a startup incubator. So kind of like a miniature Silicon Valley right here in Italy, where people that were interested in starting the startups or digital businesses would come and get economic and technological resources to kind of create bring their ideas to life. And then in 2016, H Farm, which is our parent company, decided also to branch out and create a school. So we're located in a very kind of, let's say, unique and an innovative ecosystem. So something that's really interesting for our students, and something that we really like to kind of pull across in all of our business, economics, design, technology courses, is the interaction between what's going on in the business side of things in H Farm, the company, and bring it over to our school. So the students have a lot of opportunities to kind of create firsthand connections between what's happening around the world, in the business world, in the tech world, in the digital world, and kind of use those resources in their education, which is a really unique opportunity. And then in terms of the new opportunities that they have with the new campus, especially, I'm actually looking out towards our athletic fields, where we just created a brand new skate park. So skateboarders, BMX bikers have a brand new skate park that they can use during the afternoons and during the weekends, which is obviously very popular with the students.
Yeah.
Recently.
Well, so I'm assuming that the students are studying the IT courses and computer courses in the morning, and then skateboarding in the afternoon.
Exactly.
Okay, this is impressive, yes. So, well, Lori, actually, I want to ask you about the most popular question of the last 2 years. So how did you support your students during the COVID-19 situation?
Absolutely. So it's been, obviously, like all of us, it was not something we were prepared to, we were really prepared for.
You were really prepared for.
Okay. So
you were guessing that there's going to be a pandemic in the future, so you prepared like everything, all the online learning and everything.
Yes. So I suppose actually we were more prepared than most of the schools in the United States, to be honest. And it was very interesting because we had actually
it was scary, by the way.
Yeah. Well, and we had just had a representative in Turkey for the education fair, the in-person fair, like 2 weeks before everything shut down.
I was the one who is organizing that fair.
Yeah, so Claudia Noctegal, our assistant head of school, was in Turkey when everything was starting to happen. And so, we went on our spring break, and halfway through that, we're told by our governor everything is closing. And so we had already had an online school program at Norfolk Christian and an online school director. It was because we like to call it, we offer boutique education, which means even though we're a small school, if there's something some students want to study and we don't offer it, we'll find an online option and we'll support them through that. So like I've got 5 students in our high school that want to study Japanese. Okay, well, we're going to find you an online program and we're going to work with you through that.
Oh, so actually you were doing this online program thing before the pandemic as well. So that's why you were prepared.
Yep. So we immediately went into, okay, how do we make this a large scale? How do we take this from a small program that we had been using to, okay, all of our students are now online students. And so we rolled that out within 2 weeks of being told we were shut down. And for our international students, all of our host families were willing to maintain housing their students for as long as was necessary. We did have, I think I had 6 that returned to their home countries. And then I had 14 that stayed here in the States. Their host families, they quarantined right with their host families. And so they were able just to continue, and even our ones that went home because we were online, everybody continued their learning. In August, we reopened school fully in person. So we have been fully in person in school all year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How
so I had
controlling all the students. Like
our kids have done great. We spent all of summer, our administration team spent all of summer developing our COVID return plan. And so, yes, things are different. We'll say that. Anytime I leave my office, I have my mask, and all of our students, even our little students, because we have elementary students as well. So even our little guys who are 5 years old, they wear their masks all day. We have mask breaks where we go outside, we spread out, everybody gets a break for 5 minutes or so. We moved desks farther apart to make sure there was enough distance, but we still keep our masks on. And we have a wellness checker that we do every day now, temperature checks as they come in the building. But with everything we put in place, we've managed to keep our kids learning in person, not having to go online.
So that you're going to have face-to-face teaching in September 2021 as well.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, we've weathered the worst of it this year. I mean, there were times where we were like, okay, are we going to have to go virtual for a period? We had no intentions of going back fully virtual. And we've had times where, we've had a student who someone in their family or the student tested positive. And so then we go into we call it cohort quarantining. So we look at who was that student in contact with over the last time they were in the building and for the last few days. And we look at seating charts and we say, okay, this group of students, you are all in quarantine for the next 14 days. You go to online learning for 14 days, and then you come back when you're clear.
Okay,
And it
perfect.
works very well. So
You're perfect. Well, actually, we only have 6 minutes, unfortunately.
sorry.
So we're very quick. Joel and Megan, well, I'd like to learn how did you manage like this COVID situation? I'd like to start with Megan just for like a couple of sentences. So how did you manage this online this COVID situation? Were you well prepared, like Lori?
Mm-hmm. To a certain extent, as I mentioned before, we're quite, let's say, an advanced in terms of technology here at our school. So we did have programs and resources in place. For example, for one of our classes, we sent home virtual reality visors in which the students would take part in lessons wearing these visors. So it was as if they were actually in the classroom together at that time. But as you've probably heard, and everyone, Italy has been really hit hard, specifically during the last 2 years. So we have struggled quite a bit during the last 2 years. But we're very hopeful for September of next year. This current school year, we've actually managed to stay with, let's say, in-presence learning for most of the year. We only had to take, let's say, I think it was around 3 weeks in which we had to revert back to online learning. But this week actually was the first full week again, starting in presence again. And we just hope that it follows through and we have a good summer and we're ready to start again in 2021 in September.
Oh, thank you. So like we have extremely modern facilities, so probably you'll manage it extremely well as well. So Joe.
One of our schools was very well prepared. Middleton College was incredibly prepared as it's a Microsoft Showcase school. So pre-pandemic, students were already using, they actually use iPads at the moment, and they complete all their lessons when they're in the classroom on these devices. So when the lockdown was announced on I believe it was on a Sunday. On the Monday, we were able to have a virtual assembly the next morning. So students were already straight into virtual learning without any problems. They were already well versed in the technology, so we didn't have any troubles with that. ADCUT took a couple of weeks. We just had to move everyone onto an online, I think we used Google Classrooms. And again, that was a very smooth transition. As you're probably aware, the UK has been in and out of lockdown like a yo-yo, which has been incredibly stressful. So, I mean, we opened in August, as usual, of this academic year, went into lockdown at the end of December, so beginning of January. We reopened again the middle of March. We are now at face-to-face learning again, and everything, fingers crossed, is going well. Everyone's, back in the classrooms, enjoying life. They've really missed, being, with their friends. Similarly, we have COVID measures and masks in the classroom. We have staggered entry, staggered lunches. So, younger years will go first, and then there'll be time increments when students, will come in and out of classrooms. One-way systems around the schools to make sure no one's, crossing in the corridors or anything. And I mean, at the moment, with the UK's vaccination program and with the way things are going with our ending and easing of our lockdown, I'm sort of 95% certain that by September, everything will be normal, no lockdown, no masks. Everyone will be able to continue life.
I think like almost half of the population in the UK is already vaccinated. So
yeah, around 35
it is not
million.
going to be a problem at all. Well, guys, thank you. Thank you for being here today. It was really lovely to have a conversation with you. So finally, do you have any message to send your prospective students? Anything?
Who would have to?
So it looks like we are going to be welcoming our students to our high schools in September 2021.
Yeah, I mean, we would, we open our arms and our hearts to our prospective students, and we would love to have you join us.
Yes, exactly. So thank you. Thanks a lot. And have a great fair.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.